Same thing again from a different angle. Shoot your object. Step this far. Do it again. Sometimes it's that much of a difference, and you won't notice it until, and you can't see it on the back of the screen. You won't notice it until you load it in your photo editing software, whatever your choice is, and look at it and say, wow, that picture was crap. I wonder what this other one was. And you'll find out, hey, this picture was crap too, but it's lesser crap. So it's the one you'll end up using because you can't get that subject back again. Post-processing. Shoot a lot of photos. Download them to your computer, look through them, look for the ones you want. I have stacks of photos of the exact same scene, exact same thing, 18 photos from the same angle within a huge array of different settings on it. This is because the difference between an okay photo and a good photo and a great photo is usually so minor you wouldn't believe it. So just shoot a lot. Oh yeah, wonderful statistic. I want you to take a guess at how many out of a roll of 36 photos professionals end up having of great shots. 36 photos. I'm getting a 0, I'm getting a 1, I'm getting a 2. Anybody else want to venture a guess? 1. Shoot 36 pictures, get 1 that they're willing to publish. The rest of them go into the filer and into the garbage can. You aren't going to do any better. I usually do about 1 in 50 that I'm really happy with. 1 in 10 that I put on the web for my friends to stare at and point and laugh. You aren't going to do any better than professionals in this. It's mostly luck. Shoot a whole lot of pictures. Okay. I have no idea how much time I've burnt. I've burnt a half hour. This means there's plenty of time for you to heckle me or ask me questions. But first, next presentation will be tomorrow, 4 p.m., right here. I'm not giving it. So if you're tired of listening to me, don't worry, you don't have to listen to me again. This will be given by Jim Tantalo. He's going to go into the deeper and more strange aspects of how digital cameras actually work and some of the wonderful things you can do post-processing images, including digital darkroom techniques, XF headers for pulling out metadata from your images, and, well, focal length, choosing lenses. Frankly, I haven't seen his talk. It should be interesting, even for me. Okay, at this point, I'm going to stop talking and ask you guys to ask me questions. I have a question.
When you're talking about f-stops, my only experience at my was many years lithographic camera and a room-size camera with 36 by 24 lithographic films. And that's how I know about the relationship of f-stops to light. And of course, the bug is printing light or screen printing with steps in the screen. And there are a lot of techniques for getting good results to reproduce them. And I seem to remember that there are different shapes. I was guessing that these are necessary. Are there different shapes of, when the shutter opens? Sometimes that shape of that iris is round, open.
Okay.
Sometimes it can be like this.
I can describe it this way. For the type of cameras that I'm willing to purchase, it does not matter. That said, yes, it actually is a problem. Most irises are based off 6 to 10 rounded sheets that slide in and out from each other, and thus you get not perfectly round holes. Sometimes they can have rather abrupt edges on them. And if you're shooting objects, or if you're the imaging surface on your average digital camera is ½ inch by ½ inch. The imaging surface on my camera is 1 inch by 1 inch, maybe a little more. The imaging surfaces you're talking about are as tall as I am and as wide as I am. There's a little bit difference of scale involved there, a little bit. I would only claim 1 or 2 orders of magnitude. And thus some of the things that will affect that sort of printing and that sort of camera photography just don't apply in this context. You're right, there is an issue there. This is introduction. I'm trying to avoid getting into the very, very strange aspects of how light works.
I just started working with digital camera. I went straight from litho camera, which is, a few years ago was in every commercial printing house in the country. And now there are probably, maybe 1% of those left.
Yep.
Because everything's digital, straight from the press from
Mm-hmm.
And I love that, but I still don't understand studio photography because I only understand photography. And was thinking that with digital camera, it might be possible to do so many photos with so many settings that you can like that it would be fun to play with.
Yep. In fact, I encourage everybody to go out, grab your digital camera, find its manual, the one that you threw away into the garbage can, go to the manufacturer's website, pull the manual, go read it. It has lots of useful information in there, and in fact covers everything I covered here in much greater detail, and will tell you how to fly the controls on your camera so that you stand a chance of getting the image you want as opposed to what the camera is going to give you. Studio photography, I know nothing about. None. I don't have a studio. I shoot out in the real world. This means everything I've ever been taught about studio photography doesn't apply to me unless I ignore it. There's my problem and not my problem in my universe, and that falls under the category not my problem. Sorry. Go for it.
I got sort of a rude awakening this semester at school because I'm a graphic designer, so I bought a digital camera last semester. But it's one of those ones that you can find usually it's an office space. It's 5 megapixel. It's like a quite t-shirt camera. I was told by my professor and actually several students in my class who were photo majors that they just take some classes that's sort of crap in order to get really good photos.
Yep. I can tell you why right now. It's if that's where you're going with this question. Okay. It's all about capture of light. If your camera is physically this big, you can't put a big lens on the front. The bigger the lens you have, the more light you can capture. The bigger the lens you have, the lower f-stop you can get to. This means that you can do the depth of field effects, which is what everybody loves to see in photography, for reasonably good reasons. It's a neat trick, and it does things that your eye doesn't do. Well, actually, more precisely, it replicates what your eye does do, which is to say, you can only see at one depth, so it's unnatural to us to look at a photograph that's clear at all depths. So the depth of field effect is something that your eye is doing and is covering up because it adjusts so fast. Unless, of course, you've made it to the point where your vision has trouble adjusting anymore, and that usually hits in old age. But I haven't made it there yet. Okay. So the camera you picked up is 5 megapixel.
Yeah.
This is to say it has 5 million points where it can sample the light on its image sensor. However, its lens is that big.
Yeah.
It has an effective f-stop of somewhere about f22. Period. New line. Enter. That's it. And it's probably not adjustable. And thus it has to shoot the flash whenever it gets dark. And it can't run the gain up any further on the ISO setting. Exactly. This is why SLRs are recommended if you're getting serious about shooting photography. Yes, they're an expensive first step, but they're down to $1,000 with the basic lens. And when you realize why you want another lens, you find a way. You have an actual camera that still works, and you can put a different lens on the front of it. You're already familiar with it, you're comfortable with it, and you can go ahead and move up. Because, like I said, Gabe, who was just in here, he and I have the same camera body. He spent about 3 times the amount of money in lenses that I have, probably more. Same camera body, entirely different functionality out of the camera because you were able to change out the optics on the front. And added bonus with an SLR. You purchase the optics once, and there's a solid chance that they will be the optics you have for the rest of your life, and the imaging sensor in the body will change over time. Right now, I can go out and get the next revision of my camera with an extra 50% imaging pixels on it, faster, better, and I can still use all of my lenses that I already have, and it will perform better than what I have right now, and I'll be familiar with all the gear I have.
Would you recommend a digital SLR or
This is a pain. Camera selection when it comes to SLRs, in my mind, this is purely personal opinion, nobody pays me for this, this is me. You have two choices, Nikon, Canon. That's it. Look around, talk to your friends. If you have photography friends who are willing to loan you their lenses, one, you have some of the best friends on the planet. Two, you might want to consider following them if you're still unsure about this, and get whatever system get the entry-level model of whatever system they're using, so that you can go beg them to borrow a lens so you can try it, so you can find out if you want to buy your own. This is how I made it to Canon. I have a friend who has Canon hardware. He handed me his camera. I looked at it and I said, cool! And I went out and got the appropriate gear to interface with his lenses. So now I can go when I need a lens that I don't own. I can say, can I borrow your lens? And usually it's, yeah, okay. Works out really well. If you're looking to get into it at the low end and you need to get a feel for it, the Canon Digital Rebel is a wonderful camera to get starting on. It's logically equivalent to the 10D without the magnesium case, which means you can't drop kick it. Don't drop kick your camera. In fact, protect your camera. Your camera will outlive you in usefulness. The given shutter is good for 100,000 shots. I'm through 15,000 of them right now. And your lenses will last you the rest of your life. Okay, I'm rambling. Somebody asked me a different question. Did I put you all to sleep? I must have put you all to sleep. I've got 2 questions in this whole audience and I didn't cover anything. Excellent. Yes?
Is any of these cameras work on the seat mount that they used to have with the old 35mm cameras?
You can get adapters. I don't know of any existing cameras that natively do C-mount. The reason for that is, depending on the lens model you go with and how it's set up, almost all of the cameras are doing digital communications into the lenses to pick up interesting data and useful stuff. Like, for example, Canon. The focusing and the aperture are dealt with inside the lens, but they are controlled by the camera body. So it actually has a digital communications path between the camera body and the lens to control those. And in the same sense, the camera body can ask the lens, what's your zoom to? And the lens will communicate back to the camera body, my zoom is X millimeters out. So it can actually, all of this data, thanks to the wonders of digital photography and the EXIF file format, can get captured into your file format, and you can pull this out later for metadata and post-analysis, so you can flip through your stack of pictures and say, that was the one I liked. What were its settings? And you can pull the settings back out of the photo and say, okay, if I'm in this situation again, and I'm staring at this setup, these are the sort of settings I need to go towards. Great feedback tool, because the old method with film, load it in the camera, shoot a picture, flip the camera up, check your settings, write them down, change a setting, point it, shoot again. Now, shoot, setting change, shoot, setting change, shoot. Go back through it post-process, take a look at what your settings were, figure out what you actually wanted. Okay, let's see. Are you talking about something that you can load into the film cartridge of a existing film camera?
An existing film camera. You know, there have been cameras in the past, like new cameras where you can get
Right, right.
Big cameras, and